Well, as mayor, I want to work hard to increase our image on a national, international scale. Being the best place to live, work, and play. And as part of that, I think that we need to really work on increasing our tourism industry. Because that's a way to get increased economic benefit with little worrying about added infrastructure costs. My top three priorities would be responsible spending, number one. That's the thing that I think is very important, and a long-term vision to go along with that. A civic government needs to be responsible with the money that they're trusted with from the taxpayers. Number two, ensuring that we have the infrastructure to support our current and our growing needs. We're a growing city. I want to make sure that we're growing in a way that we can manage it, and obviously bringing the infrastructure along with that. We've got a lot of aging infrastructure in the city that needs attention, and we have a lot of new infrastructure going out with the increasing of the footprint. And number three, I want to work to make Regina become a leader in the country in terms of being an accountable and transparent municipal government. There are some really great examples out there in terms of cities that have done that. Calgary is a great example. Mayor Nenshi is an amazing mayor. I'd love to kind of model our government off of them. I think that's very, very important. Absolutely not. And I have a prime example of that. Basically, over the last several months, I've tried to get several documents from the city. I've tried to approach the city council addressing a few issues that I feel are very important to Regina. Unfortunately, it's been a very difficult process to get the most basic documents. A perfect example is the City Square Plaza. I wanted the full costing on that because it's not just the cost of the actual plaza itself that we should be accounting for. I feel strongly that anything that is a result of that should also be used in terms of the 12th Avenue construction and Lawrence Street construction. That really gives us a real example of how much that's going to cost us. Unfortunately, we can't get that. So, at the current proposal, based on the latest version of the stadium, I am 100% dead set against it. That being said, what I want to do is, this is what I've been pushing for the last few months, is to put a stop immediately to any spending that's on the current project, because I don't feel it's been done properly. Due diligence has not been done. And what I would do as mayor, one of my first priorities would be to make sure that that spending is stopped, go back to the drawing board, review all four options that the province had in their provincial study, because there's two options, the major and minor renos, that haven't really been looked at from the city's perspective. I feel those are very important in terms of really looking at the alternatives and figuring out what the best option is for our city. So that being said, I'm not ruling out the current stadium project, but I feel as a responsible mayor, I'd have to go back to the drawing board and make sure that we have a realistic due diligence process done. I definitely recognize that we have a major infrastructure shortfall in this city, and that's something that I feel needs addressing now rather than later. That's a perfect example of needs versus wants. That's what I think that our city needs to focus on, is making sure that we have the core infrastructure, the stuff you see behind the scenes, focused on more so than any of the pretties, the luxuries, like a stadium, for example. Definitely aware of the pension issue that we have, the $293 million shortfall at this point in time. I've been told a few different things as to how we actually got there, and some of the things that I've heard really seriously concern me. As mayor, I want to investigate everything that's actually happened in that, because obviously that's one example of something that's been definitely not transparent. Anytime that's ever come up from our current council, all they've ever told us was it's being worked on. It's don't worry about it. It's getting handled. And if it had been handled, it would have been done several years ago. I feel that I think that being accountable for a civic government is essential. And that's been one of my key platform ideas since day one of my campaign, is accountable and transparent. And I feel that what the citizens of Regina need to have is a mayor and a council that are willing to listen to them. Not just listen, but actually take that information and work with it. Our current council has made it obvious that they will listen, but they won't do anything with it. I feel as a mayor would be paid by the taxpayers. They're the ones that should ultimately be able to hold us accountable. And you know what, if it turns out that they're not happy with any of the current council, I think that they should have a right to recall us. Because we are the ones, or they are the ones we're supposed to be answering to and listening to. As far as a measurement for accountability, I think that informal town hall sessions are really, really key to being able to be one-on-one with taxpayers, so that they're not in an environment where they feel uncomfortable. I think that's very, very important, so that they feel really comfortable with their representation. Absolutely, 100% our city faces a housing crisis. 0.6 vacancy rate. Affordable housing, not only is it tight, we're demolishing affordable housing in the city, and apparently now we're turning them into parking lots. What I would do as mayor is, number one key is to work immediately on the project, not wait until, as an example, to use the RRI as an example, wait until the current stadium is demolished and then figure out what to do then. I want to address it now because we're currently facing that crisis, and we can't wait 5 to 10 years to address it. I want to be able to work with North Central specifically to revitalize that neighborhood. I know that there's a lot of properties that are being neglected just because the owners feel it's not worth their while to keep the properties maintained. Along with that, work with the rest of Regina to make sure that we can offer incentives for renters to become homeowners, which eases the burden, demand on rentals, and it's a snowball effect from there. They've done some really good work in the last decade or so. I definitely recognize that. There's always room for improvement. I think one of the big things that I personally feel would be a great benefit to addressing the crime situation in Regina is to kind of be proactive rather than reactive. And by that I mean, work with the youth and the children in our society to make sure that they feel appreciated and paid attention to. Because I feel that that's a very key thing in terms of youth getting into crime or gangs for that matter, because they simply want the attention. And they may not be getting that at home, or they may not be getting that at school, or what have you. So as a responsible municipal government, I feel that encouraging programs like the Chili for Children program in North Central, a great program that provides a hot meal and shows that there's people out there that do care for them. And I feel that if they're given that attention at a young age and continually give that attention and give them alternatives to do something in the community, they may be less inclined to go to the crime route. Absolutely. I think that those are essential in our city to be able to provide some services that other businesses may not offer because there's simply no profit to be made in it. That is something that we need to do to make sure that our citizens are happy and, for example, given swimming pools, things like that, just being able to give them options to keep active in the summer. Yeah, P3 is a public-private partnership, and I understand that there are definite benefits to them. Through my program, through my training, I've actually really researched P3s, and I know there are benefits, and I definitely know there's risks with them. And I think the major risk that becomes with a P3 is that when things might go over budget, what happens at that point in time? Do things get cut? Things like that. I think those are very important things to need to be addressed. Absolutely. That's one thing that living in Regina for the last decade, off and on, I've seen that snow clearing is definitely something that is a sensitive issue to taxpayers, and myself included. I've been stuck on many occasions on main roads, and I don't think that should ever become a situation. That we need to really sit back and focus on what needs to be happening. Obviously, with the last 2 winters we have a budget that has a tremendous surplus. So I think what we need to do is create a rainy day fund for those winters where we do have the harder winters, and focus our attention on making sure that we're keeping it consistent year to year in terms of snow removal. In terms of residential removal, actually it's quite interesting. I had an email from a gentleman a few months ago, and he had mentioned about how he had sent an email to council and talked to all the city councillors about a program that would basically have the city go and remove the snow off of everybody's sidewalks, citywide. And this was based off a program in another city in Canada. And the part that really intrigued me about it was that the cost was extremely minimal. I'm very excited to look at that more, because I think that that would help ease the burden on our senior population, our people that are less able-bodied. And also it provides 100% assurance that our mailmen and our paper delivery people can get around without too much hassle. Absolutely, I believe strongly in curbside recycling. I think that's something that, as a responsible city government, we should be encouraging our taxpayers to do. I know that I do it voluntarily. I don't do the curbside necessarily, but I do take my paper to the local blue bin. I go to a Sarcan, things like that. I think as a responsible government, we could implement that and become included as part of the property taxes. I think putting the charge separately on a utility bill is the wrong way of doing it, simply because it almost discourages people from wanting to become a part of it. What my angle would be basically to include it on the property taxes and include maybe 1 or 2 free bags of garbage a week and then charge thereafter. This not only encourages people to reduce their garbage, it also reduces the needless waste that goes to the landfill, and hopefully in the long run, we may have, we may reduce our garbage to a minimum. I absolutely think that that's essential. I have a great example over the summer here. When I took the time away from the mayor race, I was interested in becoming a part of a committee. And I had to go through probably 6 different people in the city to find out what the proper process was. I think that that's something that should be readily available on their website as far as what step-by-step process is involved, and when the calls go out there and things like that, because there are people that really want to get involved in their community, and if we make the process hard, they're going to be less inclined to do it. So, and naming the names on those committees, I think, is very important too, so that you're seeing that, there may be people that are in a conflict or something like that, and we're addressing that. I believe in democratic processes, definitely. And that being said, I would support the board being elected. The only caution that I would have is that I don't feel enough people understand what the board does and what their involvement really is. So I don't honestly believe that people would be excited to be participating in that election process. That being said, I think that we need to do some kind of process so that at least the public is more involved.